Three, two, one. Let's go.
Try that again. Good afternoon, everyone. Shalom. I'm Shosh Badrosian from the National Public Diplomacy Directorate. I'll take a few questions after a couple of very brief points to share with you. Just make sure you put your questions in the chat of this Zoom with your name and your outlet. Today is Wednesday, November 26th, and day 782 since Hamas launched a war against us, kidnapping our people and holding them hostage. On Tuesday evening, our IDF forces inside of the Gaza Strip received the remains of a hostage from the Red Cross. Those remains were supposedly found and located by the terror group Palestinian Islamic Jihad nearly 2 days ago, constituting as a blatant violation as the terror group decided not to return those remains immediately. Now, following the completion of the identification process by the Forensic Institute and informing the family this morning, the remains of this deceased hostage who finally returned home is Dror Or of blessed memory. Dror's story is a dark reminder of the horrors our people endured on October 7th and afterwards as hostages. It's also a reminder of the sickening, grotesque, and barbaric actions Hamas and its Palestinian terror alliances took on October 7th to brutalize our people, murder them for being Jewish, and massacre them in ways we will never forget. Dror Or was 48 years old. He was a father of 3 and a husband to Yonat of blessed memory from Kibbutz Be'eri. Dror worked for many years at the Be'eri dairy and specialized in cheese making there. He even spent time in Italy to understand the craft of it. He was also a chef and a yoga teacher. On the morning of October 7th, the Or family took shelter in the safe room of their home when terrorists soon after set the entire house on fire, causing Dror and Yonat and their children to evacuate through the window. Both Dror and Yonat split up and tried to escape, but were murdered by terrorists. Their children, their 2 children, Noam and Alma, were kidnapped alive into Gaza. They were held there for 50 days until they were released in November of 2023. Dror's children were released from captivity to learn the horrors that their mother was murdered on October 7th and that their father was still a hostage in captivity. It was announced in May of 2024 that Dror, in fact, was murdered on the morning of October 7th by terrorists. Today, after more than 2 years of holding his body and 45 days of Hamas and Islamic Jihad violating the ceasefire agreement, Dror's body is finally home and will be laid to rest. His children, siblings, and parents will finally have a place to peacefully rest their father as their tragic mourning period begins. May his memory forever be a blessing. We will tell Dror's story even when media outlets won't. We will tell the stories of our other 2 hostages, Ran Gvili, Sutiask Rintalak, when the media won't. We will continue to remind the media and the world that we still have 2 more hostages in captivity, 2 more hostages, a violation under the ceasefire, as Hamas and other terror factions inside of Gaza claim they can't find them. Palestinian terrorists took our people on October 7th, and you do not just lose people, you take captive. Prime Minister Netanyahu has made it clear. We will not rest until all of our hostages are back home. We will do everything to bring back home our people. Under his leadership, we have recovered and rescued 253 hostages, and of those, 168 were recovered alive, and 85 of them were recovered deceased. Next, violation after violation. On Tuesday, another terrorist was identified crossing the yellow line in northern Gaza and approaching our IDF troops, where they posed an immediate threat to our soldiers. The terrorist was therefore eliminated. Also on Tuesday, 5 armed terrorists who likely emerged from an underground tunnel in eastern Rafah were identified by our soldiers and eliminated. Meanwhile, this morning, our IDF observation post in eastern Rafah identified 6 additional terrorists who likely also emerged from a nearby tunnel operating in the area. Following that identification, the IDF struck the terrorists while they attempted to flee. Now, following that strike, it was determined 1 terrorist was eliminated in a structure and 3 others were eliminated by our troops in a close quarters encounter. Our troops are also apprehended 2 additional terrorists who were in that structure as well. Over the past week, the IDF eliminated more than 20 terrorists and apprehended 8 additional terrorists who attempted to flee from underground terror infrastructure in that area. On Hezbollah, Prime Minister Netanyahu has made it clear this week that under his leadership, the state of Israel will not allow Hezbollah to rebuild its power and will not allow it to pose a threat to the state of Israel ever again. The Prime Minister expects the Lebanese government to fulfill its commitment to disarm the terror organization. This week, Israel took action to eliminate a dangerous terrorist and a mass murderer whose hands are soaked in the blood of Israelis and Americans. Before he was eliminated, Hezbollah's chief of staff, Ali Tabatabai, was working to rearm the terror organization after it suffered tremendous blows by our security forces. Prime Minister Netanyahu has made it abundantly clear. Israel operates without depending on anyone, and immediate actions to thwart attacks are carried out automatically by the IDF. Israel decides without dependence on any external party on how to defend itself, remove threats, and repel attacks. Israel is responsible for its own security and will secure all of its borders. That's why Israel is continuing to strike terrorism on several fronts. And I'll take a few questions. Okay, the first question, Alexander Cornwell, that I see here from Reuters. What is the purpose of the operation launched in Tubas this morning? How long will it last, and why has it been launched now? The Pope will soon be visiting Lebanon. What consideration has the Israeli government given to pausing strikes and other military activity in Lebanon during this visit? What efforts, if any, is Israel involved in ensuring the Pope's safety? What else did you write? And how has Israel coordinated with its partners ahead of this visit? And if so, and 2, on Judea and Samaria, what I can share is there will be no safe haven for terrorists in Judea and Samaria. The IDF, Shin Bet, and Israel police continue to act forcefully to thwart terror activity and will reach anyone who harms or threatens our citizens, our soldiers, and our security forces as well. In terms of your other question, Alex, I don't have anything to add at this time. Okay, Paula, regarding the militias trapped in the tunnels and in southern Gaza, what happened to the agreement to give them a safe passage? I have nothing to add on that at this time. Good afternoon. Claire Duhamel from France 24. The army stated that the Operation Tubas should last for several days, and that's not a continuation of previous ones in Jenin and Nablus. So what are the objectives of this new operation, and how does it differ from the previous one? Any specific questions you have on this, I refer you back to the IDF. But like I said, specifically on Judea and Samaria, we will continue to ensure that there is no safe haven for terrorists inside of Judea and Samaria, and our security forces will continue to act forcefully to thwart terror activity and will reach anyone who wants to harm our citizens and our soldiers. On Tuesday night, the IDF, Shin Bet, and Border Police launched a large-scale counter-terrorism operation in northern Samaria. Yesterday, Tuesday, the circle was closed with all of the terrorists responsible for murdering Israelis in Judea and Samaria. And that is exactly what I can share with you on that. But for specific questions, please reach out to the IDF on that. Itai Stern from NPR. Was the killing of 6 Hamas members in the tunnels in Rafah carried out with the approval of the American administration as well. In the past, it was reported that the White House had asked Israel to release the Hamas operatives who were in the tunnels. Any specific questions? I'm assuming you're speaking about the incident with these terrorists in the tunnels that took place over the last day. I suggest for you to reach out to the IDF for more specific details on that. But Israel will continue to act independently, and we will do so to protect our soldiers and our citizens as well. So those are all the questions that I see right now. I'm also seeing a question from Joel Pollock from California Post. Are there any Thanksgiving thoughts at this time? Well, we know that Thanksgiving is tomorrow. We wish our American partners a happy, joyous Thanksgiving. There's a lot to be thankful for, like the great partnership the United States and Israel has. Those are all the questions I see right now. Thanks so much for joining us. If you have any other questions, please reach out to us. Appreciate your time.